Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Thoughtful Thursday. We have some amazing stuff for you today. We have a guest all the way from England, and we'll be introducing her in a moment. But as you know, I'm Carol Henderson with Life by Design, and I help you to circle up and make your life get better and better every day. And with me is my wonderful co-host, Miss Barbara Ellison.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Yeah, I'm Barbara Ellison, founder of Wellness Playroom, for the best version of you. And because I think we all deserve to lead happy, healthy, financial, debt-free, abundant lives. And that's what I'm all about. And it's just such a blessing to be able to help people to just, live their best lives. Carol says to live their best life. That to be who they're meant to be and to live the way they're meant to live. And so it is just, and that's what part of this show is about, is giving people options. Because so often people get to a certain age, and even young people, obviously Katie is much younger than Carol and I, but you know what, have some
Oh, we
options
were the
coming
same
up.
age.
Yeah, right. Yes, of course we are. But having the opportunities to design your life.
Mhm.
So, Katie, welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. Tell us who you are, how you came to be, and not came to be, creation story, Barbara. Talk about this being raw and real. We don't need to go back that far, but tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And greetings from England, sunny England. Yep. So my name is Katy Parker. Although my mom sometimes used to call me Smiley. So that's my nickname. Yeah. So I always smile. So yeah.
Uh,
And firstly, I just want to say thank you so much for having me here. So I'm a trauma-informed well-being writer who incorporates mental health and faith into her words, yeah, to inspire and encourage others. I'm a mental health advocate and blogger, yeah, and I as well am a creator of the PTSD My Story project, what is a safe space for the trauma survivors for them to share the story, yeah, and inspire others. So I as well want to say thank you so much to all the trauma survivors who are willing to share their stories.
yeah,
So yeah, that's probably about me in
yeah.
brief.
And the thing is, so many people think that trauma is these huge things, and they are these huge
Mm,
things of, people that have gone to war and all those kinds of things. But their traumas can be little things that we don't even think of that stress us out every day.
yes, yes,
Well,
Barbara. Did you
one,
know there's actually 70% of people experience trauma at some stage in their lives, and about 20% of them actually develop PTSD. So on my trauma, I mean, I've been going to trauma my whole life, really. But really, I mean, when I was diagnosed with PTSD, it was about over 2 years ago, because I had a really bad accident towards the end of 2020. I mean, what a year was 2020. We all remember this. So, yeah. And then towards it, when I was thinking, oh God, I hope it's just everything going now, everything is going like hopefully back to normal, the new normal. Yeah, then I was coming home from work. It was only about 10 minutes walking when suddenly a van hit me as I was crossing a road. And yeah, I was lying on the ground. Ambulance came and everything, and I ended up in hospital with fractured back. I couldn't move first. Then I learned to walk with a frame, yeah, walking frame, and then later on crutches. And I was there for a week actually. I was on crutches for my first time, and I was coming back towards my bed, and there was like a big window in front of me. And as I was coming with the occupational therapist or the physiotherapist, or one of them, um, I just I just stopped suddenly because what I could see through those windows were all the ambulance cars, traffic, and everything. And I got flashback. Yeah, a week after my accident, I got flashback, and I just stood there like frozen. And she actually asked me, "You okay?" And then I just fall in tears. I was just so in tears. And I was thinking, what's going on with me? Like, am I like, what's going on really? So she asked me, what has happened? She took me to my bed and closed the curtains because in a hospital, yeah, there were some other patients and so, and she then said, so what has happened? And then I said to her, like, have you seen through the window? And she said, yeah, like, what have you seen? I was like, no, the cars. And she said, what cars? It's like, the ambulance cars. And I was like, I came here by ambulance. And she straight kind of understood, what I'm talking about. She
Right.
was like, oh, like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, we were almost kind of like, as it would be just a matter of time, to be honest, for them, that they were almost expecting that something is going to happen. So she was really so supportive. I was very lucky because I as well had pastoral care support as well as whilst I was in hospital, and I was very lucky. And then, yeah, 2 months or so after my accident, I was diagnosed with PTSD because the flashbacks just they haven't stopped, and so I was experiencing nightmares as well, anxiety and everything. I felt so safe, to be honest, amongst those four walls there in hospital, but I wanted to go home as well, obviously. But I'm into my husband, and so, but I felt so safe there. Just didn't really want it because I was thinking, what if something happened to me again? And the fact that I just went through trauma in my life, and you just think, I don't want it anymore. But as you said, there's a trauma with capital T and a trauma with small t. Yeah. And we're going really through the trauma in lives, and sometimes is because for how it was for me, I mean, like I always said, even like to my therapist, and I always said, and I've write about it as well, I was like, why? I was like, I went through so much trauma in my life, and I never experienced flashback, for example, until the accident happened to me. But as well, like, why then? Like, why was I was in hospital by myself because it was lockdown 2020, yeah.
Wow.
I was thinking my head is so big because the thing, all those traumas now with a capital T or with small t, whatever, started to come out. Like that was like a cherry on the top, really. And like if you would open the Pandora box and everything would just fly out suddenly, And then and obviously being there by myself, I was like, what's going on with me? Like, am I getting crazy or what is going on? So I haven't been yeah, I wasn't writing actually since I left my country because I'm originally from Slovakia, but I live in England. And I haven't been writing since I left for like decades. And, I then suddenly was thinking, okay, what do I do being here by myself? So I took a pen and paper and I returned back to writing. And this really saved me. So this what I'm actually teaching now as well, mentoring people to do, like, and telling them, writing about it, speaking about it, how writing really saved me. Because being there by myself, otherwise with all those thoughts, I really think I will get crazy. So it just cleared my mind. I put all my thoughts down, and I was just, okay, here I am, God, here I am.
And I have to admit, that's one of the things that has such a powerful writing is such a powerful thing. I remember one time I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was just so angry about something, and now I couldn't even tell you what I was so angry about. And she just looked at me through the Zoom screen and said, Barbara, write it down. Get it out of your body. Write it down. And I can remember coming off the Zoom and writing it down on a page. I was so angry. I was literally ripping the page.
Yeah.
Couldn't understand what I was writing. Couldn't understand what I was writing. Sorry, my alarm. Couldn't understand what I was writing. Couldn't understand what I said. And now don't remember why I was so angry. But at the time, I was furious. But
Take it
now,
all out.
and had to get it all out, because I think that's one of the biggest things. If we don't get it out, it sits in us and causes other things around us.
Yeah,
Well, and we've got to
exactly.
remember too that yours is a big your wreck was a big T. And this is something to bring out before everyone. You gave a statistic, but everyone has had trauma. I mean, I don't care if you're a 5-year-old and you can't see your mom for 5 minutes because she went in the other room and it scares you. Or a baby, an infant in the bed that's crying and mom takes longer to get there than normal. Or birth. Okay. Birth can be rather traumatic. You're in this
Yeah.
warm, squishy place where,
Yeah.
you can hear mommy's heartbeat, and all of a sudden you're squeezed through this little bitty hole, or you're jerked out into the bright light through a C-section. And so those are traumas, and they do affect us. And because people see, oh, well, that's just normal. Birth is normal. Everybody does it. They don't see that it can, depending on different people.
Yeah.
My husband is an example. He remembers birth. He remembers it. But my mother-in-law had him, and it was in, late 40s and almost 50s. But back then they did, that I don't know if it was at the hospital. I think it was, but the grandmother was there going, push, push at 2 centimeters. He remembers being squished,
Wow.
during the contractions. He remembers that. And, and that's a trauma, because he remembers thinking, I'm going to die. Why would a baby think that, other than the devil putting that thought in their head? But
Right.
and just the traumas, he was in a wreck at 12. He and a friend were out in a wrecker of all things, and the big pendulum started swinging, and they rolled a wrecker at age 12.
Yeah.
The plains of West Texas. Okay, we
Right.
do things different here, but traumas can happen.
Right. And every little thing
can happen
affects
to
everybody
anybody.
differently.
Yeah.
It affects everybody differently.
Yeah. And they say the straw that broke the camel's back, you use the cherry on top. But, there is a time that something happens and it's just like, I'm done. So, if this happens to you, when this happens to you, do write it all down. Write it all down, get it out. But then find someone, a godly person, to walk you through it. And
Right.
with Zoom, we have the whole world at our disposal. I mean, look at where we are. We've got Chicago, Texas, and England. So,
Yeah, no, I was so lucky to actually have a help. And I think this is so important to have your support circle, but then as well as somebody, as you said, ask for help. Because we often think like, it is like, oh, I'm not going to ask for it. I mean, I was thinking the same. I was thinking like, well, am I crazy or what? And what people say, what do I do? And we often think about it. It's like, oh, what do people say about me? What do they think? If I say I'm going to therapy, or so I'm saying psychologist or whatever, what do people think about us? We often think this, but actually you do healing, you do it for yourself, not for other people. And that's so important to actually know. And as well, when you said about, Barbara, you said, or Carol, or whatever was it? Yeah, about the husband. Yeah, you said, about the husband. Do you remember? And so, we are impacted so much by environment, and obviously the first thing for is the parents around us, and so. But we, even before we were born, we already, and that's kind of the generational trauma, then, and that's kind of what I have myself, I went through it. So yeah, it's already something that before we even been born, really,
and that is so true. That is so true. And
whether you believe it or not,
yes,
you're affected by it.
Yes.
You might not believe in generational curses or generational blessings, but they are real.
They're very real. They are
very real.
And the other thing too is it's not always the people that are the closest to you that can walk it out, especially if it's a generational curse hurt. Okay, we're going to talk about incest. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone who is affected by incest, whose parents were infected by incest, whose grandparents. I mean, Keith and I have ministered to families where they thought that was normal.
That was normal.
Okay. But, and that's an extreme case. But sometimes things that are just natural. I had a friend one time that she was, her kids were always late to school because there was always some kind of a trauma. Something came up. She goes, well, that's just normal. I go, no, Sherry, it's not. It's not normal to have things, bad things thrown in your path. And I don't mean bad as an extreme, but, you need to get gas. Your kid spills their drink all over their clothes. You have to go, but, that's not normal.
Yeah.
but because that happened in that family all the time, they thought it was normal life for everybody.
Yes, and that's so true, you know. And as well, I mean, when I think about, my trauma, and I told you about my accident, but when I think about my mom, for example, you know, and my granny, obviously being in war and all these things, and then my mom
Yes.
was, she was like one of the oldest of their big family, and she got married. My father was alcoholic, and they got divorced. My mom lost her first child and all these things. And you know, the thing why we often think actually, oh, we cannot ask for help, and so because we have not seen it neither from the people, you know, my mom was my example, really, my role model, and I have never seen her kind of even asking for help. You know, there might not be even help be available that time. When we're talking about mental health or trauma, we have never been told at home about trauma, mental health, or anything like this, you know. And then when
It's
I
the big
said,
bad, it's the big dark secret. Oh,
yes,
you're in
exactly, like mental
therapy?
health, and so yeah.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah,
whole
it,
big
it was a
secret.
big taboo back in, you know,
Mhm.
even in the 80s and 90s, it was still sort of taboo that you didn't, that was telling the family secrets, and you didn't
Right.
tell the family secrets. And my mom was a first grade teacher, so she saw a lot in these families, because that's back when the teachers still did home visits at the beginning of school. And so
Oh, wow.
she saw a lot. And yeah, it
And
is.
it might not be your own personal trauma. Sometimes it can be the trauma that you see in somebody else.
Yep, the
That
secondary trauma. Yeah.
the second degree trauma. And I don't think for myself, I realized that how prevalent that was until I went through what I went through with David, taking care of him for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it makes us as well so empathetic, for example, as well, you know. So it makes us, we can feel so much better with the other people, you know, as
Right.
well. And I think that's something what, I mean, I know much better. I know when I, like, you know, that some things, for example, I just wrote an article actually recently about what trauma survivors I work kind of together with, what they wish they would not hear from others, for example, or, you know, those words like, you know, or PTSD, like, as you said, like, oh, you haven't been to war, or so how do you get PTSD,
Right.
or so, or like, why do you then live still in your past, or so, you know, the things
Right.
that people kind of still don't understand, because
Right.
it's still so misunderstood as well, PTSD, and has got so many
Right.
misconceptions and so
Yeah.
about it. So I mean, it is like very important with this, and therefore, like, I'm so grateful when I meet as well some person who went through it, because they are so much more empathetic, actually, you know. So they can feel really with us, actually. And then, like, I know, and quite recently happened to me that I caused kind of, I didn't want it, but I kind of, I said something and it kind of did hurt somebody else, but I didn't want it to cause the hurt. And it hurt me so much that I hurt them, that even when they were already kind of like, you know, Katy, this is okay, I was still like, I didn't mean to, like, I didn't mean it this way. And it's like, still, it almost pushed me like back to where people did hurt me. And then it's like, you imagine, like, I didn't want to do this to cause this to somebody else. So it is kind of, you know, something to live with. Then all, you really live with it all life, really, as well. You know, it has got consequences, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and you know, in the Bible, God turns all things to good. I mean, he takes what's bad and he uses it for his good. And you can't have a testimony until you've had a test. And you have to take your mess and turn it into your message. So if you would, Katy, tell people how to get a hold of you in case they want to visit with you further on this subject.
Yeah. So as I said, I got this PTSD My Story project. So if there's anybody who went through trauma and would like to share their story, just contact me. And you'll find me at smiley@journeyofsmiley.com. As well, you can find me on Instagram or on my blog called Journey of Smiley, because it's really a journey of hope and healing. So it's my journey, But yeah, I invite everybody else to join. And yeah, as I said, this journey of hope and healing. And I as well recently have actually just published, I don't know if you can see it actually.
No, we
But yeah,
can't see it. But we'll put a link to it. We'll put a link to it in the show
it's
notes.
a 7 keys to self-healing, a trauma survivor's guide, where is the 7 keys actually a keys that can help you on your recovery journey. Because I just want to really be here and cheer for everybody who goes through recovery journey. Because the hardest thing what is then, like I said, like is almost the accident was like a cherry on the top, I said, but as well almost and what would I say, the silver lining also. And
Right.
because I got back to writing, but not just this, but actually suddenly started to heal. Because before that, every trauma, I was just like, okay, I just
You're
like put it
layering them all
behind me,
down, just
suppress
pushing
it,
them
put
all
it
down.
behind me, put it behind me. I'm all fine, I saw my mom being always so strong, and so I was like, yeah, okay, I'm always so strong, and I'm a smiley, And then it actually was the other people who had to tell me, and my therapist, and said, is it okay not to be okay? This is actually totally okay not to be okay. As it's okay to be okay when we have a grief, and so, because lots of people think, oh, I cannot be happy when I grieve, and so, no, that's not really true. It still is actually okay not to be okay, when things happen to us. And so we all have feelings. God gave us feelings for a reason. So we all have feelings, and then, it's okay to, and as I said, just put those feelings on paper. This helps you so much. So yeah, if anybody wants to connect us, our Journey of Smiley, you'll find me there, and you find as well my free trauma survivors guide there as well. And I as well got actually journaling tips and prompts as well. They're free, you can download. Let's see.
Great.
Cool.
Great.
Awesome.
So, yeah, thank y'all for joining us this morning for our journey with Smiley. And yeah, if you are watching on YouTube, on Facebook, be sure to click like and share out to your friends, especially your friends that have had trauma. But also, like I said, everybody's had some trauma in their in themselves. Everybody. None of us is immune. We live here on this planet, so it happens. It's kind of like gravity. It's going to be there.
It's there.
And trauma doesn't discriminate, anybody,
exactly.
Anybody can really go to trauma. And what I just want to say, the last thing is, if you go to trauma, whatever you experience after is totally normal. Just like I was told by the therapist and so, it's totally normal. You cry, you freeze, whatever, it's totally normal. So don't say it to yourself, oh, I have to react certain way or whatever. It's totally normal, whatever you experience. Just to get help. Just get help.
And in the next few weeks, more and more stuff has been, it's been coming out now for months of people that have been extremely traumatized throughout the world with trafficking and stuff like that. So more and more people will be needing help. So learn what she has to teach. Get her information down so you can share it out to people so they can be helped. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when our episodes are coming out, and share it out with your friends, and give us a thumbs up. The thumbs up really helps us to get more out in the community. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing this with us, Katie. We do appreciate it. And guys, circle up. We'll see you. Bye.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you
Bye,
so
everybody.
much.